Good morning. My name is Jim Nealon. I'm with the Sherburne Business Association. This morning we're talking with Leslie Barnett, wellness consultant, in her home at 40 Whitney Street in Sherburne. Now, Whitney Street is the connector street between Western Ave and the Shaw Plaza. So we're here this morning to talk with her about how she works with her clients in lifestyle coaching and health coaching. This is a series of interviews conducted by the Sherburne Business Association. The goal of the Sherburne Business Association is to provide information to Sherburne residents about the businesses in the area and how those businesses can bring information and services to the people in the Metro West area, specifically Sherburne. And this morning we're going to be talking with Leslie about how she works with her clients here at 40 Whitney Street. So Leslie, welcome. I'm Jim Nealon.
Jim.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
Inviting us into your home this morning. And we want to talk with you about how you do your business here. My understanding is that maybe as a potential client, I come in and you meet and greet me here in this space in your kitchen.
Yes.
And you start asking me some questions and start understanding who I am at this point here in this part of your house.
Yeah.
May I have some tea, perhaps?
Sure,
Is that
Jim.
one of the things?
Yeah, that's one of the things I like to do with my clients when they come in. I like to make them feel very comfortable. We're going to be talking about a lot of personal information. So I think it's really important just to we sit and share a cup of tea and create a warm environment, because
Thank you.
right now my mission is try to get to know you as best as I can.
Well, so who am I? Why am I coming here? What is the main reason for me to show up here?
Typically, clients will come to see me, Jim, if they're working on a health issue, that they're maybe haven't had success working with conventional doctors, or they understand that it might be associated with their lifestyle or something they're eating, and they want some tips or help in making a transition to a healthier lifestyle.
So typically I might have some weight that I want to deal with, or maybe some other issues that brought me here to this point.
Absolutely. As some other issue, a weight issue, there could be some fatigue and energy issues, that sort of thing. So I really want to uncover that in our conversation.
Okay.
This
Charlie.
is my
Hi,
assistant, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. How are you, Charlie? I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry, Charlie.
No problem.
How are you, Charlie?
Charlie's 2-year-old.
2-year-old.
He's
What
still
kind
learning.
of breed? What dog?
He's a standard poodle.
Standard poodle. Hi, Charlie.
And he's very friendly. Loves
Yes,
when
I can
people
see.
come over.
I can see. Yeah, good, Charlie. Okay.
Yeah. So we are. So what I try to do is empower people. The first thing I do is create awareness as to how people are actually living their lifestyles, and that's the first step in trying to encourage and empower people to change. So
I'm hearing you connect the dots between mind, body, style of how you're doing things, what you eat, how you live, how you think. I hear a spiritual component in there somewhere. Is that part of the package?
I would say whether people call it spiritual or emotional, it's a very big part of the package. And the school that I went to is called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. It's one of the largest nutrition schools in the world. We learn that food is not food. The food that we consume is not necessarily our primary foods in our subsistence. And how we live. That it's this whole package. So you not only look at what you are eating, but you're also looking at your lifestyle from a spiritual standpoint, from a work standpoint, community standpoint, and issues that may be affecting your health from that direction as well. It's a very important part of health and wellness.
So if I'm a new client, I would find 40 Whitney Street in Sherburne, and I would come here and I would start here. Is this where you would start your understanding, start your coaching, start your
Yes, this is one of the places that I hold sessions. I've had given talks here to small groups of women's support, wellness support groups, conversations. One I gave in the spring just about sugar and understanding the different types of sugar and how they affect. But I also give talks at libraries and small businesses and Girl Scouts. I work within the community. I'm also going to be giving a talk on the center, the Council for Aging. But typically when a client does come to the house, I will start here. I will often provide a cup of tea.
What kind of tea is this? Do you know what
It's
kind?
just a simple red rose, but I have an abundance of herbal teas also that I enjoy
Yes.
and offer. But I'll sit down and get to know the client here, get to talk. There are 3 places in the house that I work. I also have an office downstairs
Okay.
where I visit with clients as well.
Okay.
But this is often a good place to start. And
So we would start here and have a cup of tea, and what would you ask me in this space? What would you do here after the tea, or would we go down to your to the next place that you go to?
Well, what I would do here is try to find out where you're at with your health and what are the key issues that are really concerning you at this point. I try to really get to know what your lifestyles are like, what kinds of pressures you're under, and I also understand that this is a very that people. I want people to feel comfortable here, to be able have confidence that they can share things with me. Otherwise, I can't really help them, but also respect that certain level of privacy. So one thing, Jim, that I found in my work is that it's very difficult just to have one meeting, that I do like to meet clients over several sessions and go over things, and I feel that develops a sense of trust and confidence with clients. But everything is confidential. It's really important. And I also share a lot about my own life with clients, and the struggles that I've had and how I overcame them, and it's one of the ways that I feel I can be helpful for people or help them
And so
understand.
the first time in, you would really understand who I am and what I do and how I live it and my lifestyle a bit, and that's part of a first consultative session. And after that, then you would have a plan of what, a couple of times a month, maybe? Do I understand?
Usually twice a month. Also, I like to offer clients that they can call me or text me or email me with any questions during the month. I do kind of work differently. I can work on an hourly basis and charge a fee for that, but I do like to work over a time period, so 1 month or 2 months. Typically it's 2 sessions a month and several phone consultations or email or text. I can take people on tours of grocery store to show them where to find items. After the first session, I will have some homework, which is typically to get
some homework.
some homework. It's important.
Were you a teacher ever in your life?
No, I
Okay.
wasn't. But I do have a master's degree in education.
Okay.
But the homework's important, and it's the first step in getting people to become aware of their patterns. And once you become aware of patterns, you can start making changes.
So do you foresee me coming here for a couple of times a month for a long time, a short time? Does it depend on me? How does it
Typically
play out?
depends entirely on you, and sometimes 1 or 2 sessions is just perfect. Give people the confidence that they're on the right track and to go forward. Sometimes people would like to stay on longer. Can go on 3 months, 6 months, and then follow-ups maybe occasionally after that. But it is a process. It's a lifestyle changes. A lot of the habits that we've developed have been developed over lifetimes, so you really can't expect them to change in 1 or 2 sessions or 1 or 2 months. For me, I would say it probably took 3 to 5 years, and I still continue to learn and open my mind about health issues and how they're affecting me, and I share that with my clients as well.
But I would guess that you have a real good satisfaction for seeing progress with your clients. Am I guessing that?
Yeah.
You have some fulfillment in your own life. Does that extend?
Yeah, absolutely. I love helping people and opening this whole other world of healthy lifestyle and good nutrition, how to nourish ourselves. Because of our lifestyles, people aren't getting the actual nourishment because of primarily our emphasis on processed foods. That our cells in our bodies are really not getting the nourishment that they need. So opening people's eyes to that and learning how to feed ourselves from a more holistic perspective is what I'm trying to do.
And I'm guessing downstairs is where you do some of that exploration. Is that
Yes.
is that a good guess?
Yes.
Well, let's go take a look downstairs and see what you
Okay.
do down there.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
let's do that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the tea.
You're welcome.
Okay, Leslie, so now we're in, what space would you call this? What do you do in this area here of your house?
Well, this is what I consider my office, Jim.
Can I keep this here?
Yes, please, that's fine. This is where I do a lot of my research, and I meet with clients down here, and I like to take notes and talk again, continue the conversation about what's going on with their lives and how I can be of help to them.
Okay.
As you can see, I have an extensive library here of a lot of reference books, and I refer to them often. There's probably a book on just about every kind of health or wellness issue out there. And this is one of my favorite books, Digestive Wellness, because I have learned through my work that your digestion and how you process your food is one of the key key issues in good health. So this is a big part of my work in helping people to correct their digestive systems.
And so here you get more, I sense you get more into nuts and bolts of who I'm playing the client here, who I the client am in your practice. What do you tell me more about what you're going to expect me to do with me at this time?
Absolutely. This is where you could say we get into the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty. I really do start to talk about changes and why things might be happening in that person's life and how they might be able to address those issues through the lifestyle changes. So it takes some explanation. A lot of the things that I talk about are very new concepts to people. One concept, which I think is actually getting more popularity or more coverage now in the news, is wheat, and how prevalent wheat is in our diet, and actually how inflammatory it is to our systems, and how it could be related to many of the health issues that we have. That concept, for people to hear the very first time, is kind of unsettling. How do you change that? I remember when I heard it the first time, how do you really cut wheat out of your diet? So I'll begin to approach that subject, that topic, and talk about why, the actual science behind that concept, and then how to go about making the changes, what kind of products you can get to substitute wheat. That's just one small example, but there are many. There's milk is another issue where people have a lot of issues. It's not only, yes, it's the lactose, the sugars in milk, but it's also the proteins in milk that are very difficult for people to break down, that cause inflammation. Sugar's another one, and then there's fats and oils. So
and how do you get to those specific silos of health? What I'm asking is, I would come in here and I perhaps might have some extra weight that I want to deal with, or I might have some stress or something that I want to deal with, or what other things am I typical? Nobody's typical, but what is a typical client coming in looking? Weight is one that I've mentioned, but what else? What other things would I be in this chair sitting talking with you
weight
about?
is one, and then also energy is a really big issue. And I think that, for lack of a better word, depression or mood issues. You know, there's a lethargy that goes around, maybe lack of excitement about life. Some clients have issues with hives and skin allergies. Another big one is digestion, just an indigestion and how, you know,
ongoing digestive issues.
Yes, and those are pretty much aches and pains is another one. So
so you'll explore then who I am as a person, personality. You get into personalities also?
Definitely, personality is a big part of it.
Personalities drive certain
very
behaviors.
much. I've studied Ayurvedic medicine, and
What's Ayurvedic?
Ayurvedic is an ancient Indian philosophy about body types and personalities. And based on your body type and personality, everyone should really, not everyone should have the same diet. Everyone's has this bio-individuality.
So you're connecting the dots between not only lifestyle, but body style, mind.
It's mind, body, it all comes together. And there's another whole area called energetics of food, which is really fascinating. And it's a way that we don't think about food.
Say that again.
Energetics of food. And
food.
Instead of thinking about food as just a protein, a carbohydrate, or a fat, you're actually looking at how the food is grown in the earth. So you can look at a potato, and the potato comes out of the earth, and potatoes in this Ayurvedic philosophy are very grounding foods. They're heavy, they're warming. Somebody who maybe is very energetic and can't seem to focus, potatoes and grounding foods might be a better food for them. It's a very simplistic example, but it's how we look at foods as from their energy standpoint. So lettuces and leafy, they're very light and give you lots of energy.
So you have lots of information about the individual, different kinds of food groups and all that. How do you tie that all together? I'm sitting here now. How do you do that?
Well, I'll ask a lot of questions about really what goes on with your life day to day. What really are you eating? What are you putting in your body? And then how do you feel?
Everything.
And how do you feel?
It all tastes good.
And that's great. And you know, there are a lot of people, and one of the things that I emphasize with my clients is no matter what they do, as we work through the dietary issues or their health issues, that whatever changes they make to the diet, it's critical that they enjoy the food that they're eating. And
I've got to have fun doing this, I guess, to be successul in my goal.
Everyone has to, and they can't feel deprived. They can't feel that the food tastes horrible. So I really do a lot of work with, you know, helping people make food that tastes really good, teaching them actually even how to eat, like sitting in with people that you love, enjoy conversation.
So Leslie, it sounds like you have a very holistic approach to your coaching, to your counseling, your consulting business, your wellness consulting. Can you talk about what wholeness can mean and include? You mentioned some different aspects of that. Can you just give me an idea of what you mean by wholeness? And holistic?
Sure. Right. Well, I think it's important to look at how we nourish ourselves from this holistic standpoint. Everyone is so different that bioindividuality is a critical aspect of my work with people. One diet doesn't work for everybody, and I think a critical part of my work is helping people understand what the best diet is for them. The other thing is that it's important that people enjoy what they're preparing and how they're eating it. I encourage people to learn how to eat and nourish themselves, not just by consuming food, but actually the whole process of nourishing our bodies.
So if I bring in perhaps some weight I want to work on, to eliminate, I got to be happy with what you're telling me. I got to be happy with the program that's going on so that I can fulfill what my goals are. I got to be happy doing this, because otherwise it's not going to work.
Right, absolutely. So the food has to taste good. You can't feel deprived. You can't feel it's work.
You just can't tell me I can't eat Cheetos.
Absolutely,
because then I may want to go eat Cheetos.
No, Jim. What I'm actually going to tell you is, yes, you can eat all the Cheetos you want. Just enjoy every single one and understand what it's doing to your body. And so creating awareness about eating that Cheetos is what I hope to do. You can eat them. Everyone can eat what they want. Another neat thing is that as you start making the transitioning to really wholesome, healthy foods, our taste buds actually change.
Really?
And you'll find that Cheeto isn't going to taste as good.
How long does it take to get rid of the Cheeto taste?
They say, truly, there is a number to it. It's about 21 days before your taste buds actually change. And it can happen sooner if you go on one of these detox programs. The transition can happen much quicker. But if you go through a slower transition, 21 days to break habits and for those taste buds to change, and you won't want to go back.
So you know I like Cheetos. You know that I love them so much that they maybe are affecting my lifestyle. So what do you do to find, now that I told you I like Cheetos, what's your next step? Do you take some notes? What do you do with me to get me off Cheetos and onto something?
Well, I'll take notes. I'll make notes of that, and it's something that maybe we can talk about. The key issue is if you really feel that there is an addiction going on. Foods are very addictive, and people...
I can't eat just one Cheeto. You are correct.
That is true, and then also it's a daily thing. It's a repetitive thing. People really don't understand that food can be just as addictive as alcohol or drugs. There's certain chemical reactors that go on in our brain that are those feel-good receptors that go off when we eat these foods that we've become addicted to. So whether it's a Cheeto or a bowl of ice cream or a Sara Lee pecan cake or whatever it is, it's that addiction that could be kicking in. If it is a problem, Jim, then that you want to work on, then it's important for us to work together on that problem. If it's really not a problem, we're not going to worry too much about it. But you know your body, and you're going to know if it's a problem. So that's really important. I'm not going to be the one that's going to tell you it's a problem. You're going to identify those problems and what you want to work on through our conversations.
Do you typically get into the chemistry of the brain and the chemistry of the digestive system, the chemistry of what's happening with things like this?
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And understanding that is a big part of wellness, and understanding why it's important for people to make changes in their diets. There are more neurotransmitters in your gut than there are in your brain. People don't understand that. Get those butterflies, it's actually considered a second brain.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you would interview me and you would understand those things, and then what do you do with that?
We talk, and then I'll identify those issues that maybe you want to work on, and some of the things that you're doing and how they might be related to other issues that you might be having in your life. So it's really important that we address what are the things that you want to work on. I'm not going to project issues onto you. And if you're excited about trying to resolve those issues, then you'll be more likely to be motivated to change them. So we'll write those down, we'll talk about them, and I'll typically give you 2 or 3 things for you to work on over the time period that we'll be apart. And you can ask me questions about this. So it might be a dietary change, it might be, you know, you actually even come up with the things that you want to work on. And then I kind of serve as the accountability person, and share that with you, so and support you. I'm the one that's maybe on your shoulder, the conscious on your shoulder. Like people have often said, well, what would Leslie think, or what, you know, so.
Okay, so we can handle the nuts and bolts here, and then I want to go over and I want to have a nice, comfortable conversation with you about how I go about what I need to do next. So let's go do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Charlie, we're having a good time over here. How are you? Yeah, I get a good kiss from you, and the tea is great here. So now you've figured out who I am, what some of the issues are, and what I maybe starting to think about what I need to do next a little bit. And so I'm gonna then feel real comfortable here with you because I've had a chance to hear you talk and have a chance to have you explore a lot of different things. And so what's next? How do we do the next thing?
Well, the next thing, I think often people have a lot of more questions. After we go through some nuts and bolts and I talk about a lot of things that maybe are unfamiliar concepts to people, there are often a lot of questions that come up about.
I've got 1,000 questions.
So that's what we might talk about here, and I really like to give the support and the warmth and encouragement that people may need and answer all those questions, as many questions as we can. And then I find after we actually finish the session, questions come up later on, and I do encourage my clients to.
I'm going to have 1,000 questions when I walk out to the car. Can I call you from the car? And
absolutely.
Be interactive with you.
Very open, yes. Encourage that. I want people to really understand and process the information that we discussed. And I find, like I said initially, is that it's there's a lot to learn. One session typically isn't enough. That it transition over many sessions is really, I found, most helpful to clients.
And as a result of all of this, do you give me something? I mean, do I get something in the mail from you? What happens?
No, it depends, Jim, and depending on what we talk about, often I can send many things over the email, specific articles that will help you understand some of the concepts that we talked about. I can provide them here too if they're readily available, but if it's some things that I really want to dig through, one thing I don't want to do is overload my clients. So I might send you home, I will send you home maybe with a food journal, and that is not typically, what that is where I ask you to record exactly what you're doing. And I like you to keep that for 7 to 10 days, 2 weeks. And it's where you track down what you eat, and not only what you eat, but the feelings that you have about whether it's a mood or fatigue or energy levels.
So it's almost a diary.
It's a food diary, yes.
Diary.
Yeah, and so you're going to be
maybe more than just food. Maybe it's when I feel depressed, or when I feel elated, when I feel whatever, when I feel hunger, you know, the things, whatever's coming, whatever the issues.
Cravings is
everything.
Another one. Yes. So try to record them to the extent that you can, that it's fun and comfortable. I don't want it to be a huge burden or a chore. But just
I don't have to carry the diary around with me all the time.
No, and be a maniac. But just get an idea. And again, it's creating awareness on your part, but then it's also going to be a super tool for us to use when we get together, because I'll use that in terms of pointing out patterns in what you're eating and why they may be affecting your health in a very different, variety of different ways.
And how long do I do this before I come back and see you again?
Usually you can get a sense of patterns within 7 to 10 days. Some people like to keep them longer, keeps them accountable. If they're actually going through the transitions of trying to improve their health, they may want to keep it just for their own accountability.
Okay.
So it can be a 2-step thing. 1, to create awareness, and then 2, for accountability down the road.
And I understand from your website that you deal with corporations and groups as well as individuals. So how does that work?
I can do lunch and learn talks, and depending on what the issues are, what kind of health programs the corporation or small company or organization may want, I can pretty much talk about just about any issue, and I love to do it. I think group settings are fantastic. There's usually good energy there and lots of good questions.
Format of that when you go to do something with a group, is it a round table thing? Is it a lecture style?
It can be both ways. It can be a lecture style, and occasionally I've set up entire tables where I've gone through all the actually a kitchen. I put in things that you might find in the refrigerator, the freezer, and the cabinet, and what those healthy items are that pretty much I have in my pantry. So I'll actually transfer my pantry to that site and talk about those things. I do round tables with a presentation that's a PowerPoint presentation. So any variety way, depending on what is actually needed. In some cases I like to keep it very simple. And I like to determine the talk based on really the small group and what they need. So variety, structured or less structured.
So who is Leslie Barnett? How did you get to this point? What drove you to do what you love to do?
I have always been interested in food, nutrition, and biology my whole life, but I didn't take the path initially in my education. I did study psychology in college, and then I went on to get a master's degree in education. After that, it was in early 1980s, and Proposition 2.5 was passed. It's very difficult to find jobs in the field of education. I've had a couple of different careers, and I went into investments, but all along I have always had this underlying issue in food and nutrition. I had many health issues in my 40s, Jim, that I had to resolve. And to be quite honest, I was struggling with depression. And the first thing my primary care physician did was put me on antidepressants. And I knew at that point...
Chemical antidepressants.
Chemical antidepressants, and I knew at that point that it was a Band-Aid, although I feel that there is a place for medications in the world to help people. I'm not against them at all. But I felt it was a Band-Aid, and I spent hour upon hour to identify the root causes of what was happening. I had metabolic testing done, and I was actually able to resolve those issues through diet and lifestyle. And once I did that, it did take 3 to 4 years. Once I did that, I vowed to myself I'd commit myself to helping other people resolve their health issues.
Here you are.
And here I am. And that was about 10, 12 years ago. So
it sounds like you keep returning to your psychology and college roots there to explore that avenue with your clients. Is that a fair observation?
I think so, because I think a lot of my health issues did start with my diet early up growing on. I did grow up on a diet of processed food, and I do think that was affecting my my being,
Twinkies
my essence.
For the afternoon snack.
Every day, Little Debbie. A Little Debbie was every day in my lunch, bologna, Wonder Bread, many of the diets that we have. And again, I don't feel my body was getting the nourishment it really needed to perform at my best. I had a very successful career in the investment business. I was in it for 10 years. Became an analyst and a specialist in covering researching industries. I was in the Wall Street Journal. So I had this dual life, but really, I again don't feel that I was struggling. I think I could have even done a lot more if I'd been nourishing myself in a way that might have been helping my health at that point.
And your demeanor, your body language, your enthusiasm, everything just says you're having a great time doing this. This is the feeling, the vibes I'm getting from you. Is that fair? You're having a good time with this?
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, thank you so much for sensing that. I do feel it's what I'm here to do, and I look forward to helping people. And I'm just thrilled about the work that I'm doing, and can't wait to spread the word.
And you have a website, so that's one way you can spread the word. What's your website?
My website is www.barnettwellnessconsulting.com.
All one word, barnettwellnessconsulting.com. Okay.
And you can reach me at Leslie@barnettwellnessconsulting.com.
Leslie,
@barnettwellnessconsulting.com.
barnettwellnessconsulting.com.
Yeah.
Okay. And may people call you? Is there a phone number?
There's a phone number. It's 508-314-0587. That's my cell phone number, so you can get me just about at any time.
Very good. Okay, well that's terrific. I wish you all the best in your exploration, your wellness consulting. Thank you very much for the time you spent with us this morning.
Thank you so much, Jim. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for the tea.
You're welcome.